Today we'll be talking about, or we'll be having a conversation about managing your money as a couple, right? So whether you are, not yet married but in a relationship, or whether you are already in a relationship, right? Or you are team God when, right? And you want to prepare ahead, to be able to manage your finance with your partner, then you are in the right place. So welcome again. My name is Mobolaji Olorishade. We have Feranmi here, product marketing lead. Feranmi, you have the floor to share your thoughts with us.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Mobolaji, for this beautiful session. And thanks everyone that has worked to put this together. My name is Feranmi. Once again, I work with the product marketing team as Cowrywise. And this is a very beautiful spotlight, not what I was expecting, but here I am to talk about how money has worked for me in my relationship. To be clear, I'm not married yet, yes, but I guess what this conversation is meant to be about is how people who are not yet married, who are probably dating or in courtship and looking forward to get married, how they can manage money together without before marriage. How do you manage money with your significant other and things like that? So I'll start very simply with an old story when I first met the person I'm currently dating. And the very first fight that we had, that I know that really shook us to a very strong point, was money. I mean, every other thing was fine. We could talk about all other things, but when it came to money, it just looked like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to handle it. We didn't know how to work around it. And at that point in time, it dawned on me that money was a very great decider for any successful relationship. There are many compatibility angles, but money is one thing that we seem to always ignore, but I've chosen not to ignore it again. And here are some tips that I've used with my with my partner and how it has worked for us. When the topic of money comes up, it can get really complicated and it can look like, oh, this is a very private thing to me. Particularly when you're not married to the person, you're thinking that, oh, this is really private. How do I discuss money with someone that I'm not married to? How do I start off a conversation about money with that with that person? So for us, one thing that we've tried is not as if we're still trying to be consistent in it. One that we've tried, and one thing that makes it easy for you to start discussing money with your partner, is to have something called weekly budget. So instead of saying, okay, this is how much I earn, or this is how much you earn, let's talk about how much you earn. It can be really somehow like it's still private. You just met the person, you're still trying to understand yourselves. So the approach we used first of all was to have like joint budgets. So we created a joint document where I'll write my budget for the week, she'll write her own budget for the week, and we will try as much as possible to meet up to keep ourselves constrained to that particular budget. So when she started to see my budget every week, she started to ask questions like, why are you spending this much on X? Why are you spending this much on Y? That was how our conversations actually started on money. That was the easy way for us to actually get into money. So the easiest way to like start off, like I just said now, is to have a budget sharing conversation instead of just jumping right into how much you earn, this is how much I make. I start with a budget. Oh, this is how much I spend per week, and this is how much your partner spends per week. Then have conversations on that kind of on those expenses, and then you begin to see that why you're actually spending money on X on this so much, and why you're not saving it for that part. So that was our own approach at the beginning. It was not something that we even did like a long time. It was something that we did recently, and from time to time we still do it. So a joint budget where they can view your expenses and you can view their own expenses also. That is a way for you to actually ease into money conversations. Now, the good part about that is you can now easily set up what you call review dates. Most times, when people go out to get eat, or have a date with their significant other, it's more about spending money and just chop life, make life no choppy. That's what most people do when they go out to eat. But you can actually build conversations around money. like look at those budgets that you've worked on over a month, sit down together, talk about it, and see how you both can now become better in the coming month or in the coming week. I would, if I had my way, I would prefer that it should be a weekly thing. But you can work around that. The good thing about that kind of thing is you started off with checking each other with your budgets. Now you're having conversation about those budgets. It helps you to bond and it helps you to get deeper with your finances. So those are the first two steps that I would advise any person dating to apply. Share joint budgets, have review dates, and talk about how you and the other person are spending your individual funds. That way, you're bringing that person into your own life and then inviting into their own life. So that's a very critical step towards something known as financial intimacy. Now, the good part about that is from there, you can begin to ask deeper questions. Oh, how much do you actually earn in a month? What are your plans? How do you want to go around with money? But remember, this started off from the ease of joint budget talks, and now we're not going deeper into how much they earn, how they plan to spend this, how they plan to spend that. So the key lesson when it comes to having managing finances together with your partner is that you have to start from a soft ground. Not everyone is comfortable with telling you exactly how much they earn right from the get-go. No matter how much they love you, no matter how much they care about you, they just want you to ease them into it. So start easy with that before you now get into the critical money questions. It's at that point you can start to ask questions like, do you owe some money? Because the truth is that if you're planning to settle down with somebody, you have to know if they owe money. Whether you like it or not, somehow that debt becomes your debt because people will hound you if they owe money. So that's the time you can have to ask those type of questions, deep questions, after you've done the earlier things that I suggested. Then, after clearing up all those parts, another thing that we've tried to do is pick up joint money goals and start to like save together towards those money goals. The fourth step of this entire process would now be, oh, you know how much I spend every week and how much I spend every week. We've had dates, we've discussed about how we spend money. We've talked about probably your own debts, how much you earn and everything like that. How about we now go on to start saving for something together? Now, this might not be, let's say, for a wedding, because, or let's say for a house, that can be very pressuring on anybody. It doesn't necessarily be that. It can be a simple vacation together. It can even be that they want to buy a phone, you want to buy a new laptop. You can say, okay, let's save together, but at the end of the day, this is what I want to use the money from this joint savings to do, and this is what you want to use the money for the joint savings to do. So coming together after that history of working on certain conversations and exposing yourselves to each other financially, that is like, in quotes, the climax of financial intimacy when you and your partner are working towards joint goals together on money. And one beautiful thing is that's why, which Mobolaji will speak about later on, is why we have the money duo, which is a private money challenge where you and a partner can save up for things that matter. It's a very simple challenge where only two people can join, you and someone that matters to you. So it's not like the regular savings challenge where 400 people, 100 people can join. It's just you and your partner bonding together over your money and saving towards something that matters to you. So in summary, I just want to run over everything I've said so far because I have just limited time here. In summary, financial conversations should start from an easy level. The easiest level is, what's your budget for this week? Here's my budget for this week. Let's work together to ensure that we stay within our budgets for this week. Then you move on to having dates to discuss your success with managing your budgets together. Then you now move on from there to asking deep money questions like, how much do you earn? Where do you make money from? Because you don't want to marry somebody or you don't want to settle down with somebody who is making money from a fraudulent means, and you wake up one day to a knock from the police on your door. You want to know exactly how they make money. Then from there, you now move on to say, okay, let's bond together and work towards a money goal with a joint savings plan or with a joint investment plan or whatever. However, this does not mean that you should now like bring all your money together into one plan. I'm not a fan of that. What I believe is there should be the individual person and at the idea of you being a unit. So there's unit finances, you and that person together, and there's your own money which you keep. So your joint goals, your joint savings should be probably targeted at certain goals, like say a joint vacation, or you want to get a gadget together, you want to get some gadgets together and things like that. So that's my own personal approach that I've used with my partner to like build financial intimacy with her. Start from an easy level and then progress from there. So that's it from me. If there'll be any questions, I will be around after the session to take them. And Mobolaji is going to speak a lot more on the money duo plan that I mentioned earlier. I look forward to learning from the other speakers, the secret place husband, the secret place wife, because I'm not married yet, and I'm looking to see how I can manage my finances when I get married, hopefully. So thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a really nice time with the other speakers.
How do you manage debt if the person has?
Okay, so I'm not an expert on this, but I had a personal experience, so I will share from that. It's a personal experience that I'm happy to talk about these days. So I've had my own personal experience with debt. I think everybody, one way or the other, has had their own personal experience with debt. But so my approach was to write down a list of everyone that I owed some money, and I shared it with my partner. So what she was doing was, as every month was going by, or as the months were going by, oh, you're owing this person money, check it. You're owing this person money, check it out. So once I paid, I'll tell her and we'll check it out, and we're marking and we're reviewing over time. So the good thing about that is that if you want to really manage debt with anybody, the person has to be transparent with you. They have to be. The person has to be transparent with you. You have to be open to you. The only way to actually manage it with a partner is if that partner is open. If they're not open to you, there's really nothing you can do. So for me, it made it easier to pay the debt because she was aware and she knew those people that were being paid. And there was the motivation that, okay, you have to pay these people. So she will put me in check to ensure that those people are being paid. And yes, you're asking that, is it advisable to add your partner as the next of kin on Cowrywise or any wealth platform that you use? Or, yes. By the way, Cowrywise has a robust next of kin offering, such a way that if someone's account is inactive over a period of time, we immediately contact the next of kin if you've not been able to establish contact with the owner of their account and try to find out what is wrong with the owner of their account. So your next of kin is not someone that inherits your money in Cowrywise. What your next of kin does for us, your next of kin is the first point of contact that we can establish communication with to if anything has happened to you. So it's advisable that you put someone that you can trust and someone that is close to you. So for me, I would put my partner as my next of kin. And if you want to do that also, it is fine. But it's just to be clear, your next of kin does not inherit your money on Cowrywise. It is the law that determines who inherits your money. Your next of kin is just simply the first point of contact to establish communication with.
You said you're not a fan of putting money together in one account. Can you kindly share your thoughts or experience?
Okay, so I said I'm not a fan of putting all your money. Like if I earn, for example, if I earn 400 or 500 or 100,000, any amount per month, and my partner too earns probably 100,000 per month. I'm not a fan of you putting the entire 100,000 from both accounts from both your income sources into one account. You can have an agreement to say, can we save towards X, and I give a part of my income monthly or weekly into that joint account. So I'm not anti-joint account. For example, I support the money duo plan on Cowrywise. I'm just like, it should be a percentage of your individual earnings. So you still have some agency on your cash. So I'm not against that. What is the best strategy you advise for savings with your partner in terms of your savings options or investment options? For me, what I would advise, this is a personal opinion, by the way, what I would advise is whatever goal it is that we have in mind, or preferably, we can build an emergency fund together. An emergency fund is simply something we can fall back on if there's an issue with our earning sources. So for an emergency fund, you can work with something between 15 to 20% of your income. So I put 15% of my income in it, she puts 15% of her income in it for an emergency. So one good way to actually start a joint savings plan with your partner is to build an emergency fund together.
So Ola and Bisi Soetan are certified relationship and marriage counselors and coaches, providing guidance and coaching for successful relationships and marriages.
I'll talk a little bit about money mismanagement among couples. One of the things that make money so a big deal in relationships and marriage is because of the emotions that are always attached to it, to the conversation of money. People always bring in emotions, and the emotion is very legit. It's very legit because while you were single, if you're broke, I don't think you go about smiling. While you're single, if someone is owing you and you're in dire need of money, I don't think you go about smiling as well. So the emotion have always been there when it comes to money, and it gets amplified when you now have two people. When it's now not you alone, but you with someone else. And there's something that's so phenomenal about marriage. As much as you love your partner, there's still a way you like to present yourself to your partner. There's still a way I still like my wife to see me. There's a way my wife wants me to see her. Sometimes you're like, hold on, wait. Probably she's doing a particular routine, and she wants me to, see her in she's doing it so that I can see her in a particular way. There are some times that I do some things. It could be I say some things or dress up in a particular way because I want her to see me in a particular way. Do you understand? So all those things are responsible for the way that couple talk about discuss money, finances in their relationship, their marriage. Let me give you an example. At the early stage of our marriage, I think I was into debt like that, and the pocket of debt. But I had this issue. I made up my mind that yes, I was going to sort this problem. I was going to find a way around it. I'm not even going to bother my wife about it because man, it's too early for this lady to be thinking that she's married to a debtor, something like that. So I didn't want her to see me that way. Do you understand? So for instance, let's say I'm owing someone 100,000. So instead of saying 100,000, I'll say 50. Do you understand now? Just to make it like, but along the way, as much as I was trying to get myself out of the debt, and because the way we operate in our family is we bring everything to the table. So if you say that you are owing someone 50, whereas you're owing the person 100, and we always bring everything to the table. At the end of the day, after paying the first 50, you need another 50, right? So at the end of the day, I'm always scratching my head to say, we still have 50 to pay. She'll be like, but I thought we've paid this person this 50. Do you understand? And that was because I was afraid. I didn't want her to see me like that because, I didn't like to be a debtor myself, but I found myself in that situation. My finance was in a mess. But when I got married, my finance was actually really in a mess when I got married. So she's not seeing me in my buoyant days. Do you understand now? So it affected me. I thank God that she's a very understanding woman. We put through, and she wasn't really digging deep. It was very uncomfortable for me having that conversation, having that discussion. I didn't even want to talk about it. So I didn't want her to see me that way. And that's something about being married. When you're married to someone, you should be married and unashamed. Do you get it now? But I was still ashamed of being a debtor. So one of the fundamental things, that's why I said I'll start from the place of mismanagement. Mismanagement of funds. So one of the most important things is that you should, before you can even talk about your plan, the plan of the family, because you should have a plan. Your family should have a financial plan. You should have a budget, what you want to achieve, every year, every time, and that. I know I'm still going to leave things for Scripture's wife to talk about. Most important thing is that both of you must be comfortable discussing money. You must be comfortable. That's the first achievement. The most important achievement that both of you must have is being comfortable to talk about money. There will be financial inequality. Somebody might be earning more than the other at a point in time. There might be power play if you don't put things in check, put things in order. You're earning well, I'm earning well. There might be power play. So all these things might feature if both of you, and it's just a communication problem, if both of you don't know how to talk about money, can't put your emotions aside, can't put your sentiments aside, can't put whatever aside and have a decent conversation about money. And another thing that you should avoid, especially in marriage, because you know you're no longer alone now. Even when you're alone, it's even okay, but now that you're involved, and this is particularly to men, do not throw your family into debt. That's one thing that you avoid at all costs. Do not in any way throw your family into debt. So those are the two critical things that I really want to start off with. The first thing is that be comfortable to talk about it. You must be comfortable to talk about it. Anyway, you're going to talk about it. Whatever it is that is going to make the conversation difficult, both of you will need to help each other get it out of the way. Then as a man, avoid it. Because I listened to Feranmi, talking about how he and his partner managed to come out of debt. All right.
So what I'll just say is that there's no one way to handle or manage money in your relationship, right? There are a couple of ways, right? But what is important is that there's communication. And you are in that communication, you strive to remove any form of awkwardness. So there's communication. People actually want to talk, but these things are awkward because of our ego, because of our problem, because of our experiences, and so we're thinking, oh, what is my image? What does it feel like? What is it thinking about me? What is she thinking about me? And so when your partner is asking, how much do you owe exactly? You lie because you're thinking, if I say 100,000 or, all the money, he's going to think or she's going to think that I'm a wasteful person. But you are also thinking, I'm not wasteful. I found myself in this situation because of a certain reason, which you can justify, right? But you do know who you are. The truth is, if you're going to be married successfully and handle your finances properly without any shame, you have to push to remove the awkwardness. It's not going to go away by itself. Somebody has to push to remove it. And in that pushing, there comes the understanding of how human beings think, how people think. Now, the reason if my husband says, oh, I didn't exactly push at the time, it's not because I did not want to know the truth. It's because I could already tell what the truth was. I was more interested in building a safe place. So it was easy because I had that vision. I mean, if somebody is lying to me in the first place, they don't feel safe. They don't feel free. They don't feel unjudged. And it doesn't have to be my fault. Maybe they're coming in with their preconceived ideas. But as a person, you need to know, what is your vision for a relationship, right? In terms of finances, what really do you want? And in building this relationship, what do you want to see, right? That would then lead you to be observant. That would then lead you to pay attention to the things that are unsaid, right? Which would then lead you to ask the right questions, to say, you know what, you can tell me the truth. I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm not going to go crazy. I just really want to know, to support you. You can speak, not just communicate in terms of, oh, what is going on? You can actually communicate using the right keywords, because people communicate, but we don't say the keywords. So I'm like, how much do you owe is a valid question that deserves a valid answer, right? But the person may not want to tell me because of shame. How much do you owe? You can tell me anything. I'm not judging you. I'm not, talking you down. I'm not trying to escape. Now that has backed that, how much do you owe, in a way that makes that question easy to answer. I hope that's clear, right? So what are some of the ways that you can manage your funds in your relationship? There's the joint account, there's then the individual accounts, and there's sort of like a hybrid of both. In terms of a joint account, you put your money together. What is mine is yours. My money is our money. Your money is our money. And you put everything on the table. The second one, individual account. So you run individual account and you both know what you are paying. So somebody may say, you know what, I'll take the rent. Another person says, I'll take the food, depending on how much you earn. Somebody may say, I earn less, I'll manage the groceries. Another person say, I earn more, so I'll manage the rent and other big things in the house. So you know what you're spending your money on, but you have your separate account and the money flows from your separate account. Nobody is asking any questions. Nobody is saying, oh, you know what? Why are you spending this? You can surprise your partner, you can surprise yourself, you can buy whatever you like, so long as the bills are paid, right? The third one is sort of like an hybrid of both. So for certain situations, maybe for projects or things or bills, you have a joint purse, a place where you bring money from your personal account to put money in the joint account. It may be, the joint account may be your savings account. The joint account may be your bills account. The joint account may be, you know, the running account, right? Where, and it may be an investment account. You just have some form of joint account where you pull money together to do stuff, but you still have like access to a personal account. Another way to do that is that you have a joint account where you put all your money, then you allocate a certain amount of money to each other in your personal account, in your, you know, private account. And anybody, you can do whatever you like with that money. Now, all of these things have pros and cons. So with one, of course, if you're running a joint account, you are now monitoring. You can tell nobody spends anything without the other knowing. And in this kind of situation, in our experience as coaches, we've seen that it can quickly breed resentment if care is not taken. It has a lot of pros in terms of there's a lot more, there's clear vision, you are able to run together. You are able to even enjoy your investments. Say, for instance, if I want to invest, maybe I have 3 million to invest, my husband has 3 million to invest. If we pull it together, we're probably able to do more, right? With the 6 million than if I were trying to manage my own portfolio on my own. So that's the power of doing things together. It yields more, you know. I mean, if you're Christians here or religious, you know that there's that concept in our religion where it's like 1 will chase 1,000, 2 will chase 10,000. That works for joint account. But some of the cons is that if you're not careful, if you don't try to push the awkwardness out, if you don't remove the shame, if you don't keep yourself accountable, it may seem as if somebody is pressing down on you and you may begin to get resentful if you cannot speak up. That's that. For the separate account, of course, it goes without saying, you know, everybody's on their own. Nobody's asking questions. It may still breed resentment, especially if somebody's earning more. The hybrid of both, you know, which is sort of like the one that seemed a bit more, you know, interesting and, you know, advisable, which is that we have something, but that also is in 2 forms. It's either you have a joint account and an allocated fund, you know, maybe an equal amount of money. It doesn't matter who is earning more. I may be earning ₦1 million per month and you may be earning 100,000 per month. We put everything on the table. Then we allocate an income to the 2 of us, which we agree on. So it's a case of every month we get 200,000 naira each. That is also still running a joint account. Or you may actually just have separate account. My salary comes into my account, yours come into your own account, and then we now pull money in a joint account for the purposes of investment, savings, bills, expenditures, whatever you want to do. So these are some of the things. But for you to do any of these things, you have to understand what is your spending habits, right? And find a way to mesh it, or at least understand it. So if it doesn't quite mesh, there will be problems. So in our marriage, for instance, at the beginning, my husband is a spender, not a, you know, like an irrational spender, but when you put him beside me, I was a saver at the time. Now I think I spend more, right? But at that time, I was more interested in saving. I was more interested in building just I wanted to see money. Do you see? Which was what was driving my saving attitude, not any form of, oh, you know what, I'm really just a saver. Because now I realize I like to spend. I like to enjoy myself. I like to enjoy life. But then maybe because I was still growing, I was just really building up my money habits and stuff. I just wanted to see money grow in my account. And so for the things that my husband will buy, for the way that he will eat out, for the way that he will just be like, let's go out, I'll just be like, what? You spend too much money. And I'm always on his case. Do you see? And this caused a lot of friction because then he will say, oh, you are not me. So you have to understand your money personality, your money spending habits, find a way to put it together and say, you know what, let's do this, let's spend this way. Or understand the other person's personality and try to understand your own. Like I said, my habit at the time, my spending habit, which was that I hardly spent, I wanted to save more, was from a place of, you know what, I needed to build, which was sort of like an insecurity, you know. So understand it, try to mesh it, and, you know, I think you'll be all right. So I'll stop here so so that we can take questions.
So how would you advise for people who probably struggle with, actually bringing everything to the table? How do you practically do that if it's something that you've never had to do in your life?
Okay, first of all, it won't be difficult to bring everything to the table if the family has a vision, has a plan, and there's a budget. So it won't be difficult to put everything to the table. Because if you have a plan, definitely we have to ask each other, what do you have? What do I have to meet this phase, to meet our plan, to meet our budget? So you are into a relation with someone, you guys are going to be talking about where you want to live. Do you understand? So if I can afford probably a rural area and you want a highbrow area, based on what you have in your account, there is no way at the end of the day you will not speak up for yourself. Do you understand? So you definitely speak up for yourself and say, no, we can live in this highbrow area because I see I have something that can support this plan. Yes, the issue is that we were looking for a place to stay, but I would rather have us stay in this particular location. Then you bring everything to the table. So it won't be hard. It will be difficult when there's a family vision, when there's a family plan, and there's a budget. It will not be difficult for you. And once that background is there, that you feel secure. Security is the most important thing. Why people don't share or find it difficult to put everything to the table is because of insecurity. If the security is there, you know that it is safe for you to disclose what you have, and it's a very safe place, because the truth of the matter is that in love, there is security. Where there is love, there is security, there is assurance, there's everything. It will not be hard for you at all. You won't even know. It will be so organic. It's not something that you even have to think about. You won't even know when you start pouring and saying, oh, I have this here, we can make this work, we can go on this trip, we can buy this car, we can, it won't be difficult for you, because that is all that you need. Because even that safe place will help you to think and generate more. Before you know it, you'll be thinking deeper. You'll be able to generate more income because of what that environment is fetching you. So the most important thing is that you are able to have that finance conversation. You feel secured, you feel safe. It's something that you should be after. Because the truth is that I thought about it before you ask the question. There are people who are already doing finance, but everything is not because, okay, you want to build wealth. They're already wealthy people. So what happens to people who are already wealthy? What happens to their finances? What happens to there must still be a plan. Even if you are wealthy, you want to have children. There's a particular way you want to raise them. There's a legacy you want to leave behind for them. So you still have to have a plan. You still have to, you are married, then you need to marry your plans together. Once you are married, you need to marry your plans as well together. So it's something that should bring you together. If both of you are is still, well, there are people who have their own personal policies. Do you understand now? No issue with that, because we still have husband and wife who are legally married and who are in love in their own sense, but still sleep in separate rooms. So there's room for exception. If you say, oh, this is how I want to go about it, that's how you want to go about it. Respect that opinion, respect that wish. So it's not like, okay, we are throwing this at you to say, oh, this is what you must accept, this is how it must go. Some people are so comfortable with what they are doing, with how they are managing it. As long as there's no friction, as long as everyone feels safe and secured, so be it. Do you understand what I'm saying now? So it is fine. But what we're saying is that the family should have a plan, the family should have a goal, the family should have a budget, and it should be unitary, not something that is separate. It's not like you have your own plan, I have my own plan.
What do you do when your partner is so reluctant to support you financially and mostly believes that as the man, you should take most or all of the responsibilities at home? This is a really good question. So how do you handle that?
That's what we're talking about. Different orientation. Some women judge men by probably what they saw their father doing. So my father was the one who provided, so I need a man like my father. So you have to, for me to believe that I didn't fail in life, that I actually married my dream man, you have to enter into my father's shoe. By all means, you just have to fit in. So that's what some women think, and it eventually happens to be that it's an oversized shoe for the man. Now it still falls back to the same thing that I've been talking about. Someone is not feeling safe, someone is not secure, someone is not happy. When you got married, they wish you guys happy married life. So what happens to the happiness? You are now married, there's no longer happiness. So you need to bring back that happiness. You need to sit that woman down. If you need to cry, cry and say, babe, this thing is killing me. I can't do this anymore. Even Jesus, our Lord Jesus Christ, when he carried the cross to a point, he was weak and tired. They had to call Joseph of Arimathea to come and help. There was someone that helped him to carry the cross at some point. That was someone that's going to, sorry for bringing this in, I'm just trying to illustrate further. That's someone that has the mission to still go and die. But at a point in time, he was helped. So you can cry for help. It's not a big deal. Look, this is how I want us to live. This is the standard I want us. This is how I want things to be. But you know what? Would you rather be a widow than, having all these things, all these needs met? I need help. So you need to state, you guys need to talk about your finances. It's about income and expenditure. You know how much I'm earning. You know how much it's how much work or labor or hours I put in to get this amount of money. So it would be unfair for you to leave me to be carrying this whole burden around. Do you understand? So it's something, it's not healthy. So you need to see that you're not even helping that woman, because that woman has a responsibility to support you. So she's not even fulfilling a mandate, a responsibility, a role as a woman, as a wife. I'm telling you, if you bring that conversation in, that woman will challenge herself.
So, like you said, it's important to sit down and talk about it, because you're not alone in your relationship. And most of this thing is about communication. But also, he was saying that if she had seen her father be a certain type of way, and it's the same for all of us, right? Most of the time, our spending habit, our money habit is usually tied to our family of origin. So what we saw our parents, do, or what they're still doing, how they relate with money, is how we are most likely going to relate with money. So of course, you don't want to, if she's not supportive, you also want to check a few things, right? There are instances where a woman is able to do all that she wants to do in the home. So you are not also supporting in that regard, right? So she fully takes on the role, of, whatever. So our mindset may be that, oh, I'm here to nurture, I'm here to do this. So she does the chores, so you also want to be able to look at that. And so most women, once they've taken on that persona of caretaker, of nurturer, they then take that based on maybe their religious beliefs or whatever, to say, you know what, the man is the man in this house, is the head of this house. You have to do the bulk of this thing, or you have to do all at all, everything. So you want to make sure you really understand what's going on. Is she just being mean, which is very unlikely to be the case? Or is she coming from an orientation that is faulty, right? In which case, you need to sit down, you need to ask questions, you need to talk about it. If she's actually working any money and she's taking that money and not using it for a family, you need to ask her, what does she really want to see? What are some of her beliefs, right, that she has? If you ask the right question, you may be able to go to the roots of the matter. And if it's about family, you want to be able to talk and say, we have our own family now. But at the end of the day, if she's unmoving, unyielding, you may actually want to get the help of maybe an outside, a professional or something. Go to counseling, and they may be able to even dig deeper in a way that you cannot. And she'll come to realize, that you're partners and you need help. But this is nothing that a simple conversation, just being patient, just talking through it every day, not being in a hurry to change your partner, right? Because they're coming from somewhere. But talking through it every day, sometimes you see your partner do little things around the house. You want to praise that. You want to tell her how that made you feel. And she may begin to see that, okay, maybe I can do more. So there are steps to take, right? Before you say you want to, go and escalate and get help outside. I hope that helps.
How do you deal with your partner when you earn more and they are resentful?
Well, there are two categories, two possibilities in that. So sometimes people are resentful because they feel like they are stuck, right? And they feel like they also deserve that thing. And so they're not resentful because of anything you did. It's just, pain from maybe the inadequacy that they feel, right? And so sometimes it has nothing to do with you, right? Another thing is that they're actually resentful because they are also made to feel less and inadequate in that relationship. So in a case, if somebody were earning less and somebody is earning more, and they are constantly reminded that they are not earning enough, they are constantly reminded that, you know what, I'm doing a lot so I can get away with things. Of course, resentment will come in that situation. So which is why at the end of the day, relationship is a vehicle that we deliver many things that you want. And sometimes the problem is that we don't have the relationship for what we are asking for. Do you see? So somebody, you have a partner who is resentful, but you also have a partner who you have a duty to be close to, a duty to seek, a duty to reach for their heart. Do you see? So you can't just wake up one day and say, oh, you are resentful. Apart from money, you have a relationship to build. You have a whole, world of connection that should also be in place, right? Which can then help them to deal with their jealousy, with their feelings of inadequacy, with their comparison, and say, you know what, we're one, we're the same, right? This person cares about me. So you want to make sure that you are actually building a relationship where you can speak to your partner, where it's not until you start to sense that they're acting funny, where you talk about your finances, you talk about their finances, you talk about their goals, you talk about your help, the help you want to offer them, the interest you have in them, the belief that you have in them. So nothing stands alone in any relationship. Everything comes together to deliver what we want. So even though we are talking about money, at the end of the day, it's still about your relationship and how you do it. How do you speak to each other? How do you relate? What is the vision in terms of where do you want to move your marriage to? What are the important pillars that you establish? Things like acceptance, unity, love, and how do you communicate these things? If those things are in place, if you are interested in your partner, you are likely to mitigate against things like resentment, right? And jealousy and comparison, right? If you're also interested in your partner, you are not likely to speak to them harshly. You are not likely to make them feel bad because you are anymore, or you are even the sole provider at the moment, right? You also want to speak from a place of love. So these are some of the reasons why these things are not exactly cast in stone. And it's hard to take the word for it to say, you know what, they are just resentful. You will find that if you dig deeper, there are also reasons responsible for this. So I would say if you guys are not thinking about it, it's important for every couple to have a culture of seeking help, of taking your questions outside, of trying to get help for your relationship, right? Instead of just remaining there and hating on each other, right? But outside of that, make sure that beyond money, beyond finances, beyond the things that, we can define, you are also building a relationship that can actually provide all of the things that we want. So you want to have a relationship where you can freely come around and ask questions in a non-judgmental way, right? And your partner can see your intention. They can see the motive of your heart, and they can begin to self-regulate themselves for whatever it is they're feeling. So it boils down to building the relationship that can produce many of the things we want. So you want effective communication, don't be in a hurry, right? Start with connection, start with safety, start with, showing the person that you're on their side. You're on their side, I'm on your side, I'm here for you. And you see that eventually some of the issues will regulate and fix themselves as you go on. As they find a job, as they start to get better themselves, they start to feel less, inadequate, less resentful, and these things also have a way of resolving itself when you are actually building a relationship.
You said debt is bad. Is taking a loan as a couple really a negative thing if it's safe for investment?
Well, personally, for me, taking a loan for investment is like, at the end of the road, right? Investment is, you want to talk about it and you want to look at what you are comfortable doing. So the whole concept of taking a loan is that you are able to pay it back, right? The freedom you get from being able to take a loan comes from the freedom of knowing that, there is a source of income. There is like a process in place of paying back the loan. So yeah, as a couple, a loan is not bad. But when we are talking about debt, what we are saying is that make sure you think through things. In fact, as a couple, one person may have an idea to do something and the other person does not quite buy into it, right? Because they have questions. they're not sure, they're not convinced. Don't overlook that. Don't just think, oh, because, oh, this is a deal that is going to bring us money. What if it fails, right? You would have run your family into debt. You would have run them, on the ground. So you want to make sure that you are actually open to being queried. You are accountable. That's what we're talking about. So it's not like, of course, as a couple, if you lay it down on the table, you look at your processes, you look at your income, you look at how much you spend, how much you earn, you look at how much, what your savings culture is and how much you save generally. You can decide, okay, if we take this loan, we can pay back so time. That is the beauty of having a partner, somebody working together with you to achieve a goal that you both agree on together, not just my goal. So I can't say, you know what, I've always dreamt of building our own house at 30 or at 40. And so whether or not we can afford it, whether or not we have a plan in place, let's go and take a loan so that we can achieve that purpose. Do you see? That would be funny, right? Because we have to sit down, look at it. Can we pay back? Is it really important to have a house? Is it really still a goal for us, right? But if you don't talk together as a partner, you may find that one person may go ahead and do things that is not beneficial for the family or does not strengthen the family unit. And when that trouble comes, you both will have to bear the brunt. And that's the part where, we need to talk, right? Yes, your partner will not divorce you. They probably still help you out, but it's just not fair, right? And you're not building a healthy culture if you can't sit together to look at decisions and then come to a reasonable conclusion together. That would be my answer.
You mentioned that wanting to save and grow your money was an insecurity. Shouldn't it be seen as a good habit instead?
So it was an insecurity because of my intentions, the motives of my heart. We run into trouble based on what is in the heart. Not that the idea itself was a bad idea, right? But beyond just being a couple, I had this desire to just put money together, right? And now that we're a couple, right, it's not just that I have a vision now, or I have a desire. It's that we sit down together. I bring my vision to the table, my plans to the table. My husband will bring his. Then we will, from that, craft a family vision, right? We'll from that craft, a plan, especially because we were running a joint account, especially because we run a joint mindset, not even just a joint account. So it doesn't even matter whether the money is in your account, right? At the end of the day, it's still the family's money. Do you see? So, but for me then, what caused the issue was because what made it an insecurity was where I was coming from, right? Also, what the kind of job I was doing at the time wasn't paying much, right? So my mindset around money was not in any way connected to an abundant mindset, right? I thought that, if I saved every kobo, even to my own detriment, right, I would be rich. It was more to feed my ego, to prove to myself that, I can do this thing. While on the surface, that is not bad, right? Digging deep, you need to be asking yourself, what is the point I'm trying to prove? What is the point I'm trying to prove with this goal, with this desire, right? And is my husband really a wasteful person? Because it wasn't. What just happened was that because I had a compulsive behavior to save every single kobo, he now looked like he was wasteful. So he couldn't even enjoy himself without me poking my nose. One kobo could not come into his account without me jumping up to say, where is it? What are you doing with it? Why haven't you delivered it? Do you understand? So I wasn't even being emotionally intelligent in terms of just waiting, in terms of just allowing there to be freedom in my relationship. Because you know what? I was more interested in just boosting my ego, which then turned me into a monitoring spirit. Do you see? So that's what I mean by it made me, and it was very personal. Not that a saving culture is bad. Saving is good. Saving would, give you, it's a culture that needs to be imbibed, right? And some people are savers. It's not even because they don't want you to spend. They just don't have anything to spend. They don't believe in buying and shopping and just, being wasteful, right? And so they save their own money. But some people save their own money without necessarily harassing other people, who have a different saving culture. So if I save 90% of my money and my partner wants to save 80% and take himself out with 10% because he deserves it. Maybe he also feels as if, what, for every amount of money I get, I must buy something for myself. I don't think that. You see, this is why you need to ask questions. That's what I mean. So not that thing in itself was bad, but it was where I was coming from. It was the motive of my own heart and how I was reacting. It went against the fundamentals of my marriage, which was about creating a safe place, creating a place where my husband didn't have to feel as if he couldn't talk to me. So if I already put a personal, you can't spend money, you can't. If you wanted to buy something, and that's where secret strives. Secret strives in that kind of situation. Because you know what, you are all up, you are all ready to fight, to defend yourself, to do, and it creates problem in a marriage. So that was personal, not that saving. I still save, I'm still, a saver in the sense of the word. And my husband still, in a way, still a bit free. I'm still more conservative when it comes to money than him. But guess what? We don't have that issue of, I'm trying to save. Now I'm able to query my thoughts. I'm able to ask myself why. And I'm able to drill down to the intention of my heart and then come out with now a profitable goal or vision for the family. I hope you understand that.
Can you give tips on how to get around the awkwardness of talking about money?
It's first of all not talking about money. That's not the most important thing. Don't make it like it's the most important thing. Like, if we don't talk about money, what will happen? What will happen? So your priority is your relationship. So don't make it about the money, and don't be manipulative. Don't say, okay, let me go this way. Though I know I'm still coming to talk about money, but let me just, play on his intelligence, or our intelligence, go this way, then we'll not come to money. No. Let me tell you, your when you speak from your heart, it's always different. So the first thing is that you want this person to feel comfortable. That's your priority. So that's the first thing you should go for. Do you understand? And once that is built, you'll be able to address other things. Once you notice that, okay, yeah, I think they are more comfortable, then you can now start talking about how it is a concern. Do you understand? And when you start making it about a concern, don't sometimes the person having probably your partner is sometimes aware, most times aware of their problem. It's not like they don't know. So it's not like they need you to tell them what the problem is. Do you understand? Some of them are dealing with it. They are struggling with it. So you don't need to tell them, put to their face like, this, you are the problem or this is the problem. Do you understand? But when you build that connection, when you build that connection with your partner, it will be easy for you to talk about money in the sense that you can go and say, okay, how it's affecting not just you. Because most times when someone perceives that this is personal, that's when they become defensive, because I can perceive that it's just personal. Do you understand? So the person may become defensive. But at the end of the day, I can see that how I care for you, because, okay, you have a dream to achieve. Let's say, okay, for instance, Bisi wants to talk to me about money. Do you understand now? And though we have that rapport, she doesn't know. But she can come in this dimension. I have plans, things that I want to do, I want to achieve personally. So she can say, okay, in order for you also to be able to achieve this, do you understand now? So she's said something that I'm interested in, and okay, so it's not just about her. So imagine when she's talking about, that's what I need us to save. I'm supposed to buy this hair, I'm supposed to buy this shoe, I'm supposed to buy. Then I'll be like, oh, so it's about you. Do you understand how people reason? But when you come genuinely, and definitely, first of all, it's all settled. I know definitely the perception is clear, the image is clear that it's about you. My safety is the first thing. You love me. That's the most important thing to you. Then you now bring that in, and it's still about me. I feel loved. I feel accepted. I want to humble myself. I want to submit myself to anything that you have to say. So that's why I said you can't start talking about money. It's not about talking about money. Like, okay, yes, I want to talk about. That's why some things in marriage, patience. There's a lot of patience that you need in marriage. A lot of patience. This is where you're going. This is what you need to do. But you are step by step. So you have to take it layer by layer. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. You guys plan to live for the rest of your life, and God willing, you will keep you. You have years to spend together. So why do you want the problem solved now, today? I want to talk to you. Is that not why people use Kaya Matter? They want to talk now and get the job done now. Do you understand now? That's violating principles. Do you understand? In marriage, it stages step by step. So, and you mature when you go through the ladder. You can't see anybody go through the ladder and they will not be matured. Even at work, even in your career, even in your profession, even in business. When you go through the ladder, you become more matured. You become bolder. You become a resourceful person. Do you understand that? That's why you can't take advice from anybody. People who take shortcuts can't give you advice. They don't have anything to tell you. They will always be telling you magical stuff. So don't start talking about money. Focus. Your focus, the most important thing is your relationship. Money will come, money will go. Money will come, money will go. Leave money for now. Go and focus on your relationship. Let this person love you. Let this person accept you. Be friends with this person. Close up with this person. You will get everything that you want easily. And you have to watch the person's emotion. We've talked about how uncomfortable some of these conversations can be. Do you still want to proceed? If I'm not comfortable, will you still keep pressing and keep pushing? I'm going to withdraw from you. And you don't want that to happen. So because your relationship is a priority, it will guide you. So you will know what steps to take, what not to say, what not to do, because you don't want to ruin what you are building. So don't make your focus the money. You guys will have a lot of it. In fact, it will not be a problem again. To the point that you won't even know if your wife takes 50 million from your account or your husband spends, you won't even know because it's no longer an issue.
Okay. But this. Yeah, so I think that's fantastic, right? And I also think it's important that you understand that, like you said, your marriage is too long to just want it to happen now and now and now. But I want to speak to those who are single, right? Make sure that you're also very observant because, the rules are a bit different if you're married. If you're married, we're sort of like in a covenant relationship. And so it's very difficult to break away from that. But if you're single, you are in a season of choice where you are actually auditioning people. People are, the person you're with is auditioning to fit a role, right? So it's important that you want to check your mindset, their mindset. In your interactions with them, ask them questions so that you sort of like understand their money language, money behavior, money mindset, and see that you have aligned values. If you don't have aligned values, so even as we are saying that we are a bit different, my husband and I are a bit different, there are some core beliefs that are the same, which keeps us going despite the differences that we have. There are some core values. So we want the best for our relationship. We're not selfish, right? We think about the other person. We are committed to family. Do you see? These are important. So the other part of, I'm a saver, is a bit of a spender, that we can now deal with emotional intelligence. We can now deal with, trying to just understand the person's mindset, know where they're coming from, watching their emotions. But if you don't allow yourself to open your eyes now and actually marry somebody who share, certain beliefs and values with you, it might be a bit difficult to do. That's for singles. So make sure you understand the choice that you have. For married people, give it time. Give it time. Like I think there's something we've reiterated here over and over, is that your relationship will produce this ease. But one thing I also want to say is that you have to be intentional about it, right? Awkwardness is awkwardness. And it's not just money that we are awkward about. What we're awkward about is not a money conversation. What we're awkward about is conversations that make us vulnerable. Conversations that require us to open up. Questions that require answers that are emotional. That's what we are awkward about. It's not money. Do you understand? So if you don't understand that, you think that he doesn't want to discuss money, he doesn't want to discuss money. No, he's ashamed, he's shy, she's feeling inadequate, she's feeling not enough, she has low self-esteem. These are deeper issues. And so if you're just like, why are you not talking to me? Why are you not talking to me? You'll be wasting your time. Do you understand? So be patient so that you can see, right? Be observant. Pay attention to your relationship. Be interested in their emotional well-being, right? And give it time. You will see that as you build connection, as you build a place of safety and a place of no judgment, it's easy to develop your staying power in that conversation. So up until this day, there are conversations with my husband and I that can be awkward for me, can be awkward for him. What keeps us going is that we intentionally push past our limits, which is where the intentional bit comes in, right? So we are committed to the relationship. And so if I ask my husband an awkward question that he doesn't want to answer, he may take a deep breath and try to answer. I also understand the awkwardness. So I'm not like, just answer me. I'm also asking, is this okay for you? Do you want us to have it as another time, right? Are you in the right frame of mind? Am I pressuring you? Does this sound like judgment? Do you see? Now, that is the intentionality and the work that goes on behind the scene, which you may not see. You just want to go and say, I saw a big money leave your account. What did you do with it? And then the person is like, what do you mean? What do you mean, what did I do with it? Because first of all, they already feel judged. Second, if they already took that money without your permission, they already know they are wrong and now they are feeling defensive, trying to push that aside. So you have to be tactful. You have to be intentional. If you're going to develop your staying power for awkward situations, you have to intentionally stay and ask the right questions, revealing the right emotions and intentions for your partner. I hope that's clear.
Mama says something, to singles, be mindful of making sure that both of you have synonymous idea about money. Your ideology is in sync. Now, someone might just think like, oh, that's a red flag. It is not a red flag until it is, let me put it in this acronym for you, lace. Until the person is not ready to listen, accept, correct, and engage, then it's not yet a red flag. Do you understand now? Because people are growing and you meet people at different stages of their life. So you might meet them while they're still in that era, but they are willing, they just don't have a better idea or a higher knowledge has not reached them. You might be the first person that will bring that knowledge to them. So it's not like, okay, when you see someone like that, you just run away from that person. Or do you understand? It's not yet a red flag until if the person is not ready to listen, the person is not ready to accept, is not ready to make corrections, and is not ready to engage, then it is a red flag. So that's how to know if it's a red flag or not. So you just like, anytime you say anything, you just bail. No.
We recently launched a product that helps, just two people to save, right? So if you're a husband and a wife, or you are planning your wedding or planning something, right, that you would like to make private, not a savings challenge that is open for everybody. You can read more about it. I'm putting it now in the chat box, right? So you can read more about it and challenge the love of your life to a private, wealth building and money challenge. But that's it from us tonight. Again, thank you so much, Secret Place wife. Thank you so much, Secret Place husband, for your time. It was really, really enlightening. And we hope that, we'll continue to build partnerships with Cowrywise, with both of you. So have an amazing evening.